A very good evening. Thanks for tuning into CNN News 18. You're watching The Right Stand with me, Kritsween Walia. And well, ladies and gentlemen, Karnataka as a state, remember, has seen several episodes of violence, some even communally charged in the past. One such instance was the 2022 Hubballi Riots case, when on the 16th of April that year, a mob of 1,000 people attacked the Hubballi police station, vandalized police vehicles and pelted stones. At least 12 police personnel sustained injuries in the riots witnessed back then in the middle of the night. While it's hard to erase the memory of Hubballi riots, a shocking development has led to a bitter political exchange in Karnataka. The Siddaramaiah government in Karnataka has decided to withdraw the criminal case registered against AIMIM leader Muhammad Arif and 138 others. This means that the government has decided to let off those accused of leading the mob that attacked the police and threatened to break into the police station. What's shocking is that though the decision has been cleared by the cabinet, it was opposed by three concerned departments in Karnataka, namely the Law Department, the Police Department and the Department of Prosecution. But clearly the cabinet turned a blind eye to their feedback. The BJP has called this naked politics of appeasement, and the Congress, which finds itself cornered over the issue, has spoken of the powers the cabinet can exercise without responding to how poorly this reflects on the state's law enforcement agencies. But let's draw a parallel here and put this in perspective this evening. Can the Congress defend itself, given the manner in which from 2014 to 2018 Karnataka cabinet dropped cases against PFI and SDPI members? The Congress government withdrew 175 cases against 1,600 members. Even then, the state police informed the cabinet that PFI and Karnataka Forum for Dignity are dangerous organizations. Despite that warning, we saw this decision come in from the Congress government in Karnataka. Cut to July 2023, the Congress government mulling to drop cases against DJ Halli, KJ Halli accused. Karnataka Home Minister even directed prison officials to review cases filed. The State Home Minister said requests were made that innocent youth have been booked in false cases, and hence that decision was being spoken of by those who were close to the Chief Minister, the Cabinet and in the know-how of what the Karnataka government was thinking in the state. Now, here are some more facts that force us to question Congress's move. Remember, after SDPI's objection, Congress ordered removal of bow and arrow lampposts in Koppal's Gangavati. Why? Because viewers remember these signs symbolized the weapons carried by Hindu deities. Because of that, the objection came in from the Congress. But the fact is, the Congress government revoked the order after massive outrage on Ground Zero. And in continuation, we saw how Congress SDPI alliance also beat the Bharatiya Janata Party in Bantwal Town Municipal Corporation. But the fact is, this alliance was formed despite the SDPI linked to the banned terror outfit, the PFI. And since that link was for everyone to be aware of, we saw the Congress, though distance itself, though refrain from making public remarks, but yet contest elections in a tie-up. Karnataka state government also, remember, officially invited Natasha Kaul at the Karnataka Constitution Conference. Why is this problematic? Because Natasha Kaul supported anti-India narrative on Kashmir. She's supported the separatist narrative in Jammu and Kashmir. Then we saw the Congress vow to revoke the hijab ban in educational institutes. That, remember, was a big controversy in the state. But the Supreme Court delivered a split verdict. The matter was then referred to a larger bench. There as well, the BJP said that all of this is being done for appeasement. Congress MLA Prasad Abya, remember, wanted Mysore Airport to be renamed after Tipu Sultan. Now remember, since 2015, ever since the Congress in Karnataka decided to celebrate Tipu Sultan's Jayanti, we've seen a lot of backlash and a lot of controversies around the same. But the fact here again is that Tipu Sultan's legacy is up for review on accounts of atrocities on Hindus. But there are instances supported by the Congress that do raise these questions. Can the BJP though question the Congress? And we say this because of a reason. There are plenty instances in the past where the BJP has acted in a similar manner. Between Feb 2020 and 2023, the BJP has also let off several accused. 7 orders issued by the Bharatiya Janata Party to drop prosecution in 385 cases. 182 cases of hate speech, cow vigilantism withdrawn by the Bharatiya Janata Party. This was when the BJP was in power in the state. Communal violence accused also let off by the BJP in Karnataka itself. So, can the BJP really today question the Congress while saying that the Congress must think of the larger benefit of the people of Karnataka and really try and take a pro-nation stand? We will talk about that, but let's first up listen into how this war of words is playing out.
ಬಿಜೆಪಿಯವರಿಗೆ ಸುಳ್ಳು ವಿಚಾರಗಳ ಮೇಲೆ ಹೋರಾಟ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು.
What is the reasoning behind this?
We will all discuss later.
Police department and the Ministry of Law of the state government, they have opposed the withdrawing of the case. In spite of that, they have withdrawn it. That means, in a way, they are supporting Islamic fundamental activities.
That was selfish interest of politics. That is why in case of, like I said, the Karnataka government is only practicing politics of appeasement.
Let's quickly go across to our experts joining us this evening. On the right stand, we have Imran Pasha, leader of the JDS, with us, along with Basavaraj Ittal, journalist, and Mr. ND Mulla, former DCP Crime, Karnataka Police, joins us this evening. I want to first up, though, begin with Mr. Basavaraj Ittal. Before I speak to the JDS representative here and really try and understand what the mood in the opposition in Karnataka is, Mr. Ittal, I want to understand from you on what your take is with regards to these allegations. It's a big case that made it to the headlines. For days at end, we saw, investigations take place, very serious allegations being leveled, pictures of some of the accused, being flashed on television screens. Now the Karnataka government, the Congress government in the state, has decided to withdraw these cases. What do you make of this? The BJP says this is naked politics of appeasement.
On this count, I wouldn't disagree much with BJP's, accusation of appeasement. But at the same time, we need to see this in the context of Congress political equations in general, and also what is the situation of Congress as on today. Right now, we have a Siddaramaiah who is on a back foot, following Valmiki, bold scam, and following this Muda scam and all these things. So he wants probably, as a Congress party, also probably wants to divert attention to far more polarizing issues, and that is very, very worrisome. And come to think of it, why does a cabinet need to sit and decide on whether to pursue a case or not? Is it such an exceptional case? It's a case wherein an objectionable picture was circulated on WhatsApp. The accused, the so-called accused, was taken into custody by the police. This mob of people, apparently led by AMIM activist and a leader, they attacked the police station. They forced the police officers to hand over the accused. So this, and there is stone pelting all around and all that. So police has registered case. They have filed charge sheet. Now the Congress ministers or the Congress cabinet wants to tell the country that these people are innocent. Then what is the charge sheet for? If at all there was no charge sheet, if these people were innocent, the police would have filed B report then only.
Oh yes.
So,
you're letting people of Karnataka raise questions with your own police, and you're also not listening to your police. How does this reflect on the law enforcement agencies, Mr. ND Mulla, in the state of Karnataka? Here was an incident where we saw at least 12 policemen sustaining serious injuries, and this was a 1,000-strong mob. A crowd of 1,000 people taking law and order into their own hands. They vandalized police vehicles. They threatened police officers that they're going to barge into the police station. And today that case stands withdrawn because the Siddaramaiah government says there's no merit in the case. Do you not believe your police? How does this reflect on the police, the law enforcement agencies, and the trust that the Congress government is showing in the agency, sir?
See, withdrawal of cases under the section 321 CRPC is the right of the state government. A government, any government for that matter, I will not enter into the political debate of this. Governing a state is in the hands of any government which is elected by the people. They do in the best interest of the society.
Sir, but as far as the cabinet subcommittee report is concerned, and I must highlight this because while you're seeing the good in this, while you're saying that the government can call the shots, the cabinet can take this decision, but we are being told that the law department, the police department, the department of prosecution were not in agreement.
See, number one, our criminal justice, there is a system called criminal justice system that includes the courts, law department, that's the law department, you can say, prosecution and the police investigation. And delivery of the justice. The ultimate motive of any system is delivery of justice. If justice is delayed and innocent people, again I'm telling you, I'm not taking sides. Justice is delayed. This is a case of 2020 and now it is 2024. 4 years without prosecution. Proper prosecution, proper trial. They are longing. And for tens of years, for decades, people are in the jails and they are acquitted. State governments at various places, not only Karnataka state government, but UP government.
So why were they named accused in the first place, sir? Mr. N.T. Mullah, why were they named as accused in the first place? It was the police that made these arrests.
You cannot keep, you see, the Supreme Court's guideline is you cannot keep people without prosecution indefinitely in the jails. See, prosecution, our system is such, unfortunately, our system is such that speedy trials do not take place. If the trial could have taken place, in 1 year judgment would have come. You cannot, after 10 years, if a person is acquitted and he being in the jail, it is, travesty of justice.
But you're not taking my question, Mr. Mullah, on why, if these people were indeed innocent, why were they arrested in the first place? Some of these accused who've been arrested, who've been named in this case, sir, their images have been seen that very night on the 16th of April 2022. They've been spotted, they've been marked in some of those visuals, sir.
Give me a minute, please. Who is telling that they are innocent? I'm only telling that the justice is delayed. The innocent or otherwise is not proved. There are instances that after 10 years, 15 years, people are released from the jails, acquitted.
Okay, the wheels of justice are moving slowly. You can't keep them locked in forever, and hence this is not a bad idea at all. But I do see Mr. Itnal wanting to come in on that. I will go across to Mr. Pasha in just a bit, but yes, go ahead, Basavarajji. What's your point?
The former police officer, what he is talking about is the legal position. What are the powers and authorities of the government under the law, the CRPC and all. But when we are talking about justice, what about the justice to the Karnataka's own police? It's a police station that was attacked. It was a police force that was attacked. It was not somebody else. The very police will get demoralized. The police in which Mr. Mullah served, that very police will get demoralized to take any action now. Because charge sheet has been filed, Karnataka government has said we will not pursue prosecution. They have not said they are innocent or otherwise. They said we will not pursue it. If you are not pursuing it, if you are going to let them loose in the society, now what will you tell those police officers who were there on that night? The vandalism is seen on camera. We know what has happened, and in what way it is inspiring trust and faith in law and order and also in police force.
Absolutely. This was a riots case. Mr. Pasha, I do see nobody touching upon the fact that the BJP said that this is nothing but naked politics of appeasement. Why is it that today it should be seen that way? There are past precedents which are being cited by the Bharatiya Janata Party. You know how several Congress leaders have gone soft on terror-related cases, so on and so forth. But why here? Why is this problematic for you?
Oh, sorry, actually I lost you in between. Can you please repeat?
No, just meaning to understand from you. Understand from you what your party's take on this is. BJP calls this naked politics of appeasement. They say we have a reason to say so.
But actually, if you can see from the day when the Congress came into the power, they came into the power based on this type of politics only. If you see the campaigning, what they have in their campaigning manifesto, what they have mentioned it, and both the national parties, they have not their agenda. What they have made here, not for the development of the state. Okay, so made up this Riots story, made up this Hindu-Muslim story, and these all. I was not like, currently we are in a situation like where the Chief Minister of Karnataka are having so many allegations and which things are going on. As our journalist reporter, senior reporter said that this is just a deviation from the actual muddas, actual politics, because people should not raise the question, and the central should not ask, and the court should not ask the required question. That's why they are deviating people from the actual muddas, actual topics of the
But doesn't this reflect poorly on the Congress government? This was a riots case, cops themselves sustaining injuries. Like I said,
One thing I want to tell you here is justice is delayed, justice is denied, as the famous maxim is there. So whoever has committed the offence, irrespective of any caste or religion, because the police officer is our national security. If someone hurts them, it's like hurting to the entire nation. Okay, so they are not celebrating their festival. They are not with the family. Even in the holidays, they are protecting us. So we should respect and we should salute them. And if someone is like,
Mr. Pasha, this judgment is not coming from the courts. It's the decision of the Congress in Karnataka. The cabinet has paved the way for this decision, and the BJP, and you're on great terms with the Bharatiya Janata Party, has reacted very, very strongly to the entire matter. We have Lokesh Jindal of the Congress with us to take us through the version of the Congress government in Karnataka. Lokesh, what do you make of this naked politics of appeasement, says the Bharatiya Janata Party? They've cited statements by the Congress leaders in Karnataka in the past. They say this is a pattern in itself and this is being done for vote bank.
Absolutely not. In fact, a total of 60 cases were withdrawn by the Karnataka cabinet. So it's not just one case that has been withdrawn, but various other cases. For example, BJP MLA Renuka Swamy and the provocative speeches given by them, that case was also withdrawn. And there were various other cases that had been withdrawn by the cabinet, and this being one of them. So trying to politicize the issue, calling
but
it...
But why is it that the police department, the law department, the Department of Prosecution not taken into confidence?
Whenever we have...
It was Karnataka policemen, Mr. Jindal, who were at the receiving end of this mob, at the receiving end of this violence.
As per the Criminal Procedure Code, whenever we have sensitive cases, the police officials are required to place the files before the Home Ministry. And only after the nod given by the Home Ministry, the cases then proceed ahead. And when we talk about sensitive cases like these, who have a potential to cause further instability as well as a problem of law and order in the state, these are dealt with taking into consideration a lot of factors. So over here, it is just not appeasement politics. It's a daily routine procedure that is being followed by the administration, and it is within this regard that the decision was taken.
Not just about appeasement politics. So you're agreeing to the fact that this may have something to do with appeasement politics?
No, absolutely not. Then why will the case against former BJP MLA...
So why is it that in 2023, why is it that in 2023 itself, Deputy Chief Minister DK Shivakumar wrote to the police once again demanding that this case be withdrawn? It's only since then we've seen the Siddaramaiah Sarkar take this up in a very serious manner. How are you leaving anything to the police?
Yes, Christine, when we are talking about issues where dealing with Section 153, dealing with promoting enmity amongst two communities and issues like this. Now, these are not offences in which the police considers it as cognizable and pursues the due course of action. Over here, the nod by the Home Ministry considers a lot of factions, lots of aspects pertaining to law and order before arriving at...
What are these aspects, Mr. Lokesh Jindal? I do see Mr. Mullah wanting to come in, but what are these aspects? Please explain to us what this means, because otherwise we're going to have to believe the version by the Bharatiya Janata Party who say, here's a DK Shivakumar who gives a clean sheet to terrorists even when investigations haven't concluded in the Bengaluru cooker blast case. Here's a Congress party that's spoken of favouring the minority community just for vote bank, and they've made several announcements to prove the same. So please help us understand why we must feel otherwise and think otherwise.
Number one, there has to be provisions with respect to the evidence that has been collected. The intent for which this entire incident took place, the overall basis on which the entire case was carried
Mr.
forward.
Lokesh Jindal, let me interrupt you there once again. I want to understand from you. Either the police in the first place failed to do its job wrong, right?
No,
or you are now not listening to the police department.
No.
They are not happy with the manner in which you've decided to withdraw these cases, but you're not willing to listen to them.
No,
it has to be one of the two.
No. When we are talking about disposal of the cases, the police files an FIR, and following the FIR, the police carries forward the due process. Subsequently, we see that there is pendency of cases when there are no evidences available, when there is no enough evidence that is available for the investigating authority to carry.
So were these arrests made without enough evidence, sir?
The FIR will be filed if any such form of event takes place.
Sir, this happened in 2022. An investigation has been underway. Suddenly, since 2023, upon the Deputy Chief Minister's appeal, how is it that you've decided collectively to drop the cases and charges?
The provocative speech...
I mean, there were 1,000 people there who could be seen on the 16th of April 2022. How do you justify it? What example is the Congress setting in Karnataka is what I'm asking you.
Renuka Swami's speech was in 2020. This incident was in 2022. Even that case was withdrawn. So when you are having certain such incidents...
Okay, Imran Pasha, I made this point in the beginning as well, that there are cases that have been withdrawn by the Bharatiya Janata Party, criminal cases, cases which involve BJP leaders as well, cases which are as sensitive and as serious such as this. So how is the BJP or any other political opponent in a position to raise these questions with the Congress, which doesn't absolve Congress of what's happening today, and they must come out and answer. But why is the BJP in a position to raise those questions?
It would have better if you would have asked this question to the BJP person, BJP spokesperson.
I do know, and I'm aware, we're all aware that you're on friendly terms with the Bharatiya Janata Party. So I'm daring to pose that question to you, if you would want to comment.
No, actually, if you ask me from the alliance point of view or from the JDS point of view, what I would like to tell here is, it's really a kind of a bad condition or a bad situation. It's increasing a disturbance between the people. Let it be any party, let it be any particular community. If something bad has happened, especially when this kind of a mass riots will happen with the multiple people like 500 people getting together, security should be made and should be the speed fast resolution, fast punishment. If someone found guilty, then immediate punishment should be given so that people will have more confidence with the government. It should not be delayed.
No, but are you saying the BJP has no point in saying that this comes from a place of appeasement? They're wanting to woo their vote bank. Do you disagree with the BJP on this?
Every political party, the first aim and game is to increase their vote bank only. I will not deny that statement. Okay, but the only thing what I am telling here is, let it be a Congress or the BJP. If something happened, the immediate they should be set fast forward court and they should come to the conclusion and should give the punishment to the guilty and allow and release the people who are not who has been innocent in the
cases. Okay, all right. Yeah. Point made. Mr. Mullah wanted to come in. So last 30 seconds to you. We need to quickly
I would like to tell you that way back, about 2 decades back, a police officer was killed, 2 police officers in fact, in Nargund case where farmers entered into a hospital and killed a young police officer. And thereafter in Hirur, another set of police officers were killed. Even such cases were withdrawn later on. See, the government has the own compulsion of delivering the justice in overall. It is not that police is against such cases. Over a period of time, the prosecution, it doesn't take place. Accused are languishing in the jail without prosecution, and the departments, the justice delivery system feels that over a period of time also there may not be enough evidence to prosecute and punish, and the accused will remain in the court, and ultimately they may be acquitted without any, evidence coming forth. Such cases are withdrawn, and the government and Supreme Court has laid down procedure. What cases should be withdrawn, how? So the state government.
Okay, no, while I partially do agree with you on that, there is a process and procedure in place, but here what's shocking is that none of the departments, the law department, the police department, the department of prosecution have given their nod. They're not in agreement to this decision that's been taken by the Siddaramaiah government, and that's where the problem comes in. But gentlemen, appreciate you joining us this evening. Many thanks for speaking to us and taking out your time on Right Stand. We head into a very short break. On the other side, we shift our attention to yet another face-off that's erupted between Yogi Adityanath, the Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister, and SP Chief Akhilesh Yadav. This time over the memorial of a social icon. Will this standoff impact UP by polls? We take that up in just a bit.
Like,
sorry.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying tuned. The Samajwadi Party and the BJP in Uttar Pradesh have been locked in a bitter war which spilled onto the streets of Lucknow earlier today. The Samajwadi Party chief lambasted the UP government for blocking the main gate of the Jai Prakash Narayan International Centre in Lucknow. The SP says Mr. Yadav wanted to visit the memorial to garland the statue of socialist icon Jai Prakash Narayan, but the BJP blocked his visit. The allegation levelled by the Samajwadi Party is that the BJP stopped him from visiting the memorial because they want to sell it. But here's what the Lucknow Development Authority said in its response. The LDA cited security concerns as the reason for barring Mr. Akhilesh Yadav's entry. The LDA also said JPNIC is an active construction site with scattered material that can be hazardous. The BJP has cited this in hitting back at the Samajwadi Party and says the party is only crying foul, and that too after having strayed from the ideals of Jai Prakash Narayan. Listen in.
ये सरकार क्या चाहती है? किसी महापुरुष का सम्मान नहीं करने देना है, और इसलिए नहीं करने दे रही क्योंकि भारतीय जनता पार्टी के लोगों का योगदान भारत की आज़ादी में नहीं रहा है। वो ऐसे तमाम महापुरुषों से चिढ़ करते हैं, नफरत रखते हैं।
विकास प्राधिकरण ने, लखनऊ विकास प्राधिकरण ने कल ही अवगत करा दिया था अखिलेश जी को माल्यार्पण किया जाना सुरक्षा कारणों से कतई उचित नहीं है, इसलिए अनुमति देने से इनकार कर दिया था एलडीए ने।
Going across to my guest joining us this evening, Paramveer Singh, political analyst, along with the spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, Mr. Vivek Sailas. Mr. Vivek Sailas, my first question is to you to really understand where the Samajwadi Party is coming from. आज प्रॉब्लम क्या थी सर? क्योंकि अगर हम एलडीए का वर्जन सुने, लखनऊ डेवलपमेंट अथॉरिटी का, वो बहुत क्लियरली कह रहे हैं कि ये अंडर कंस्ट्रक्शन साइट है, दैट दिस साइट हैज बीन seeing construction for the longest time now, and hence these kind of permissions cannot be given to anyone, let alone Mr. Akhilesh Yadav.
I think what the LDA, the Lucknow Development Authority, is saying is absolutely absurd and it's absolutely false. They are spreading lies actually. The JP and IC was started under the Samajwadi party regime when Shri Akhilesh Yadav was the chief minister.
Yes.
And ever since the 2017, the project has stopped. So first the LDS said that it's the issue कि वहाँ पर सांप और बिच्छू निकल सकते हैं. Then they switched on and they said कि वहाँ पर construction हो रहा है. And as far as late Jayaprakash Narayan ji is concerned, before the Samajwadi party was formed in 1992, even before that, we were gardening and he was an idol. Be it Nitish Kumar ji or Lalu Prasad Yadav ji, Mulayam Singh Yadav ji, or other socialist leader of the country, Jayaprakash Narayan ji has always been the ideal, and they have these parties have come out from the revolution and जो आंदोलन हुआ था उससे ही बाहर निकली है. And my question is, why was Nitish Kumar allowed to garland Jayaprakash Narayan ji's statue in Patna? Why not Akhilesh Yadav ji? That is a big question. Because the Bharatiya Janata Party knows, and they know that what's going to happen in coming election, and they want to make it an issue. I'm talking about the by-election, because the state elections are far ahead in 2027. The Bharatiya Janata Party
when
has
was the
no
last time that
agenda at the
Akhilesh
moment in
Yadav ji,
Uttar Pradesh.
if I may ask Mr. Sailas, when was the last time that he visited this memorial to pay his respects?
Last year he had to climb the 8 feet tall gate. He climbed it.
Because last year as
And
well,
then we went in the Samajwadi
the
party.
site was under construction, right?
My question right now, my question is, what is the harm in garlanding Jayaprakash Narayan ji's statue? What the Bharatiya Janata Party is
Okay,
trying
so
to
he
prove
should be
right,
given
here?
permission even
What they are trying to
if
prove?
construction activities are going on there, he should not be stopped, is what you're saying,
There is
right?
no construction. You send your man right now. You send your unit right now
Okay.
to JPNIC and find out.
Okay.
You should have done that in advance.
Okay, so
Because there is no
LD is
construction
lying,
out there.
LD is lying, Mr. Paramveer Singh and Mr. Akhilesh Yadav should have not been stopped, and the excuses coming in from the LD are not acceptable to the Samajwadi party. But here's the larger question. You know, we've seen the performance from the Samajwadi party, the BJP in 2024 Lok Sabha elections with, you know, the bipartisan picture. Do you think all of this is a lot more than what meets the eye?
First of all, we must not forget that Mr. Akhilesh Yadav is not a common person. He is an ex-chief minister. He is an ex-chief minister who is protected under the Z plus security with an SWA. That is a security protocol. Advanced, that is ASL, Advanced Security License. That means the protectee who is protected under the Z plus security ASL, the security team first visits the place where the protectee will be going on, what he will be doing there, he will be eating or not eating there. These things have to be considered by the security protocol for him. So if such a protectee
The allegation is that, you know, it was completely covered, he was not allowed to enter, that there's something not quite okay, the BJP wants to sell this entire area in a lower price, so on and so forth, and they're citing examples of Kashi as well. That's the allegation coming in for the BJP.
Mr. Veer, we must not forget that JP is not just the name of an individual or a person. That is the name of a movement. And Mr. Akhilesh Yadav, his father, Shraddhay Mulayam Singh Yadav ji, was in 15 months of jail term under the Congress government during the emergency, for which JP was fighting. And now today he is in the coalition with that government, and now they are fighting for this. I cannot understand. I am just a person. I cannot understand what war he is fighting for. And for a moment, these icons are not a personal property of anyone. If he wants to just garland his portrait, he might have done it in the Samajwadi party office in the UPA. That is a large and spacious space.
Okay.
It is a large and spacious person.
Okay. So where does this whole narrative come from, Mr. Vivek Sailas, that the BJP wants to sell this land, this is what they did with Kashi? Are we not trying to rumor monger here, sir? Is this necessary? Why is this being done? There is a proper process in place, protocol in place, seek permission, go garland whichever memorial you want. Why are we resorting to this kind of a parallel narrative, which is not even applying to a place like Lucknow?
At the end of the day, what happened? We had to bring the statue that we had in our office, and we had to garland it right on the road. and there were 10 layers of barricading, 2,000 policemen and 200 officers to stop the national president Shri Akhilesh Yadav ji. I just want to say what's going on in the country.
But
this is not the way.
But here's an interesting
Not a
point by Mr.
dictatorship,
Paramveer
it's a
Singh
democracy.
that Akhilesh Yadav ji enjoys a certain protection. He's just not an ordinary person who can just turn up wherever, enter whichever premises. There's a proper security protocol, and were permission sought? Was due process followed? What is the Samajwadi Party's version here? Where are these allegations coming from is what I'm trying to understand. Because Samajwadi Party says BJP is hiding something. There are tin sheds that have been installed. Something is going on. They want to sell the land. Why are we resorting to this narrative is what I'm asking, sir.
They are selling the land to one of the Rajya Sabha member of the Bharatiya Janata Party who has constructed the JPNIC. You don't know, you are not aware of such things. And what else the Bharatiya Janata Party is doing? There's nothing else. If you see the government in the center or government in the Pradesh, they are selling the public properties. We all know that. Even a 5-year kid knows that what Bharatiya Janata Party is doing.
Here's a very interesting fight that's broken out in Lucknow, and like I said, bipole impact is something that can't be sidelined completely or not be taken into the entire picture. The political landscape of Uttar Pradesh, which remember has seen a lot of development since the 2024 Lok Sabha results. But both you gentlemen, Mr. Paramveer Singh, Mr. Vivek Salas, many thanks for joining us. We will reconnect with you at a later time. For now, we need to quickly shift our attention to a breaking news update coming in. This is Air India Trichy flight, which is faced a mid-air glitch. So this is the latest bit of breaking news update coming in here on the right stand, and we're breaking down all of these details. This is an Air India flight from Trichy to Sharjah, which faced a technical problem. The airplane was then circling, and this was happening for an hour because the airplane's wheels did not retract. Security arrangements are tight. There are 141 passengers on board, and an attempt to land the aircraft was made when the aircraft was low on fuel. So the pilot has declared emergency, and a mid-air glitch has been reported on board this plane. And this, remember, flight is carrying 141 passengers, and you do see those images on the left side of your screens. I want to go across to my colleague Yash and Purnima also joining us on the phone line, in fact. But Yash, to you first, what are we learning from the authorities involved in ensuring that this flight lands safely? It sounds extremely worrying.
Well, yes, Christine, it is worrying, but what we are understanding as of now that this is a landing gear issue which this particular flight of Air India has actually is suffering from. In fact, this flight was bound to Sharjah from Trichy, and what the authorities and in fact what the aircraft carrier is doing right now is in fact they're trying to burn off the fuel because of the gearing issue. Because of the gear issue, they have to make a landing on a gear which on a flight speed which is not more than which could actually make any sort of impact. So this is a technical situation which has been encountered with this very plane. In fact, what we are learning that a lot of arrangements have already been made when in relation to this very thing. In fact, what we are understanding that a total 144 passengers are on board. In fact, they will try to make a landing attempt when the aircraft is low on fuel, because what happens in such cases, the landing becomes a very big issue. In fact, first to decrease the weight of the aircraft and also to minimize the weight so that the landing could be made in an appropriate way, and in fact there are less chances of any sort of malfunctioning. But it doesn't mean that the landing gear is not working. It's not working in its full potential, because the authorities and the plane, the captains of this plane don't want to take any sort of risk when it comes to landing of this plane. But we are still waiting for an official word coming in from Air India. But as per our information, this flight had actually faced the technical glitch at around 5:30 p.m. and in fact now it is being circling to actually just to burn off the fuel. In fact, ambulances have been actually put on hold in this very case, and in fact fire tenders have also been rushed to the Trichy airport.
Well, the flight took off from Trichy and right now it's hovering over Trichy itself. I want to go across to Purnima to get in a sense of what's really happening at the airport. There are emergency preparations on in full swing, ambulances on standby. But what really went wrong here, Purnima? What more have you what more have you been able to learn?
Well, sources from Trichy Airport, they say that there has been a landing gear issue, and after the flight took off from the Trichy Airport, just 40 minutes later, they realized there is a technical glitch, and it's better to head back to Trichy Airport. And as as Yash was saying, there's a technical glitch, and they are now trying to land at Trichy. It's hovering around the Trichy Airport, and it's currently circling to burn off the fuel, and preparations are on at the Trichy Airport for a potential belly landing. There are at least 18 fire engines on standby. Ambulances have also been called. So all the preparations are underway at the Trichy Airport, whether it's fire engines, whether it's ambulances, and they are trying to ensure that no untoward incident takes place. At the moment, prayers are on for all the 141 passengers who are on board.
Okay, and you're telling us in about half an hour after takeoff is when the pilot in fact prompted the authorities on ground that there's a technical glitch, following which now they're attempting to make a landing. Emergency preparations at the airport, as we do see, with ambulances on standby as well. But tell us a little bit about any sort of communication that the authorities have managed to establish with the crew on board. Purnima?
Well, in fact, what we are given to understand from the sources is that there's been communication. They are trying to ensure that they make a safe landing, which is why it's hovering around the Trichy Airport. There was a technical fault that was detected earlier, which is when the aircraft was asked to return to Trichy Airport. Everyone is on standby at the Trichy Airport, 18 fire engines, and you can see even ambulances have been parked at the Trichy Airport. At least 18 ambulances have been on standby as a precautionary measure, and they are trying their best to ensure that it makes an emergency landing. Currently, the communication is on. We'll have to wait and see, but this is the basic information that we've received so far. We'll have to wait and see how the development pans out.
Okay, going across to Yash as well. Yash, from what we do understand, since about over an hour, the aircraft is circling over Trichy, and what we're being told is that all of this is, being done in an attempt to reduce the fuel load. So that's what the pilot is up to as we speak. But tell us a little bit about what I was just asking Purnima, any sort of communication that's been established. What's the status really on board?
Well, Christine, what happens in such cases, there are late protocols, and in fact, any captain or any pilot in such situations actually follow those protocols. In fact, a radio message, generally what happens in this situation, these kind of incidents or these kinds of technical glitches are reported to the air traffic controller, and in fact, then what happens is there is a proper SOP which is being followed. And in fact, what we are understanding as of now is that, like you also mentioned, that as per my understanding also in this very case, what the captain, and in fact what the captain trying to do right now is in fact decrease the weight of the aircraft, so that because there is a possibility that the captain and in fact the technical staff is unaware about the kind of technical glitch they are looking at. In fact, it might be a small one, or it might be something to worry about also. So they want to make sure that there is a least weight is with the aircraft when the touchdown happens, if it is only because of the landing gear issue. And so this is the standard protocol which actually takes place. And you were also mentioning what are the protocols right now which are being followed. So there must be proper instructions which have been actually given by the authorities to the captain of the plane, because now landing in these situations actually become tricky. So that is why they had to actually reduce their fuel payload, so that the weight is at its bare minimum when it comes to the landing of this very flight, because the captain doesn't want to make any sort of mistake where there is more payload. And in fact, right now, the kind of the gravity of the problem might be unaware, the captains might not be unaware about the gravity of the issue right now. now what they're facing. So the minimum risk is what the procedure allows the captain to do, and in fact that is what's being done right now, where they are just burning off the fuel so that the payload or the weight of the aircraft could be at the bare minimum where they make this very landing.
Okay, all right. I want to go across to my colleague Mugilan as well. Yash, Purnima, stay on with us. We'll come back to you in just a bit. Also trying to dial in a few experts to really understand how critical is the situation really as far as this mid-air crisis is concerned. But Mugilan, help us understand whether or not we've heard from Air India, because their statement is of most importance right now to really understand the latest situation. If this plane was to take off at 5:30 and if this was a departure on schedule, then this plane has been up in the air for over 2 hours now, and an emergency landing is going to be very, very serious if it comes down to that.
Now, Tiruchirappalli Airport is preparing for all scenarios. We are seeing in visuals there are numerous ambulances that have been rushed in to the Tiruchirappalli Airport, and all these emergency measures are being taken is what the word we are getting from the Tiruchirappalli Airport management. So far, we are waiting for an official word from the Air India as of now. But what we are is that this is a issue related to the landing gear is what we are initially learning from our sources, but we are waiting for an official confirmation. As our reporter stated earlier, now the attempts are being made to burn out the remaining fuel in the flight and land it carefully once it is emptied is what we are initially learning from the sources, and in the visuals through visuals and in the flight tracker also we can see still the Air India flight is still flying in circles, and once the pilot feels that it has reduced the fuel weight, and we can expect the flight to land again in the Tiruchirappalli Airport. A possible belly landing is also expected. So all the scenarios are being taken into consideration, and all the arrangements are being made is what we are initially learning from Tiruchirappalli Airport.
Okay, all right. Mugilan, stay on with us. I'll come back to you in just a bit. I want to quickly take in a word from Group Captain MJ Vinod, aviation expert, joining us on the broadcast. Group Captain Vinod, very worrying, at least so far of the details we've managed to access, because, you know, the plane is still up in the air. It's been over 2 hours since it's been hovering. It developed a mid-air glitch, following which it's perhaps going to make an emergency landing. Now, in this situation, sir, what are the odds at stake? What can you tell us about what we make of the ongoing situation?
Yeah, it's a great question. In fact, I'm also an airline captain.
Okay, great.
But thousands of hours on airlines as well, apart from Indian Air Force aeroplanes. So with that as the background, I'm saying this. There are a couple of points that we need to flag, not only for our viewers who are watching, but also the relatives of the travelers who are in this particular aeroplane. You know, DGCA monitored, Ministry of Civil Aviation monitored every 6 months training plus check pilots, Indian Airlines pilots go through in India. In that, you know, realistic simulator training we go through. In that, we practice all the possible eventualities, including the worst possible eventualities of, say, twin engine failure over water and stuff like that. So, and we not only practice it, we like sort of grill it in us. And in every 6 month scenario, about 10 to 12 such practices happen, and we are, you know, certified and cleared for it. If you fail it, then you'll have to again go through a simulator training. And so, what I want to say is, such undercarriage glitch has happened earlier.
Okay.
It will happen in the future.
But since I'm running out of time, Group Captain, a quick 30-second comment from you. How difficult are these kind of emergency landings? If this was to be a wheels-up emergency landing, what's at stake, sir?
Wonderful question. In fact, it's practiced and the procedures are clearly there. The SOP is clearly laid down, and it will be a success. That is what I'm you know, trying to bottom line out.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Group Captain, for speaking to us here on CNN News 18. Here's to hoping that this plane lands safely. We're tracking that very closely. That's all from me for now. Thanks for watching.
Good evening, welcome to Brass Tacks. We're starting off with some breaking news. An Air India flight from Trichy to Sharjah. It has faced a hydraulic issue. The landing gear is not closing. We're given to understand that there is a mid-air glitch that has happened for this Air India flight that was taking off at 5:40 p.m. from Trichy to Sharjah. The pilot has declared emergency. There are 140 odd passengers on board. And we're given to understand that it's circling in the air for the last hour or so. Air India flight from Trichy to Sharjah, 141 passengers on board. The bottom of the landing gear, the bottom wheel of the plane, did not close in as was expected, as a result of which the plane is now circling in the sky. Pilots are trying to land once again at the Trichy airport. If the landing gear does not close, then they will attempt what is called a belly landing, which means the flight lands on its belly, which could also potentially mean that it could lead to an accident. More than 20 ambulances, fire engines are all there at the Trichy airport. A large number of ambulances from the Trichy district headquarters have been called in as well to try and get to the bottom of this. This is a big breaking story that is happening right now. It's a flight, Air India, from Trichy to Sharjah that took off with 140 passengers on board. The landing gear did not close, as a result of which now this flight is having to make an emergency landing once again in Trichy. It's a Boeing 737 aircraft. The aircraft is circling around the skies around Trichy to try and reduce the fuel so that as and when the belly landing happens, the impact is less because the fuel has been burnt out to a great degree. So therefore, the impact on belly landing will be much less compared to if it were a full tank. We're also waiting more details from Air India. Yash Goel has more on this on the phone line for us. Also, Purnima Murli joining us on the phone line from Trichy. Purnima, what is the latest that you have from the air traffic control authorities in Trichy?
Well, in fact, the district administration says that in another 10 to 15 minutes, the landing will take place. That's the bit of breaking information that we are getting. The collector of Trichy says that within the next 10 to 15 minutes, the landing will take place. Remember, the Air India flight from Trichy to Sharjah had encountered a landing gear issue, and the aircraft was diverted back to Trichy. It's been hovering around the Trichy airport. 20 ambulances, fire engines, 18 fire engines are all on standby. And Trichy airport preparations are underway for any kind of emergency landing. One, of course, is the belly landing. That is one such scenario. But there are 2-3 options that they are exploring. And in the next 10 to 15 minutes, the collector has assured that the landing will take place. 141 passengers are on board the flight, and prayers are on for their safety landing.
Tell me, what exactly went wrong? The landing gear, when you say that the landing gear got stuck or the wheels have not retracted back in, what exactly is the problem, and why did they decide for the flight to come back to Trichy? I believe it's been doing loops around the Trichy airspace in order to reduce the fuel weight so that even when that belly landing happens, the impact on ground is not as much. Walk us through that.
The airport director, the Trichy airport director, Gopal Krishnan, confirmed that the technical problem is because of the hydraulic failure, and they detected the technical glitch around 45 minutes after the takeoff, which is why they decided to come back to Trichy for landing, which is why they decided that the landing should take place in and around Trichy, and they are looking at possible scenarios. The flight took off at around 5:40 p.m., but around 6:40 p.m. is when the entire chaos began, and that's when, as per the airport director, they say that it's the hydraulic failure, and the rounding in the airspace is primarily to decrease the fuel before landing at Trichy airport. This is the only scenario that they are exploring at the moment, and they say that in the next 10 to 15 minutes, the landing will take place. This is the only option with less damage, is what the airport director has confirmed.
Okay, Purnima, stay on with us. Yash Goel is also joining us. So, just to bring our viewers up to speed, so at 5:40 in the evening, Air India flight from Trichy to Sharjah took off. from the Trichy airport. It went up mid-air and realized that the landing gear is not folding back. So they decided to loop back in, come back to Trichy and try and land. The only problem is, if the landing gear is not folding back in, which means that when it lands, the wheels will get knocked off because the force with which it lands down, and if the landing gear does not fold back in, which means that the smooth landing will not happen, the landing gear will get knocked off once it hits or makes contact, makes impact, as a result of which what they're trying to do now is looping around. We believe that multiple loops have happened around Trichy airspace so as to reduce the fuel level and the weight that is there on the aircraft. Once that becomes light, the captain has taken a call that it will be a less risky or less dangerous landing, even if the landing gear is fixed, even if the landing gear is not moving as per required norms. Let me go across to Yash Goel. Yash, have you heard anything from Air India? Has this happened before, where the landing gear has been faulty technically, and therefore the pilot is trying to sort of circle around the Trichy airspace, as a result of which the fuel load on the aircraft will be less and it will be a hard landing of sorts?
Well, absolutely, Zaka. These sorts of technical glitches have been reported in the past, and this one is also not something which the pilots who are trained to actually fly these flights are not trained for. In fact, in multiple scenarios, these pilots are given training to execute a landing when something like this happened. Like you were talking about, the kind of strategy which the pilots are taking right now is very much so that only that they have to actually reduce the payload from the fuel payload to the bare minimum to make that landing. Because right now what we are understanding as of now is that the hydraulic pressure machinery of this very landing gear is actually found to be technically faulty, which means that the kind of bumpers and jerks which the landing gear needs to actually needs to suppress those very jerks, that system is probably not working. So that is why the payload is actually decreased to the bare minimum. And talking about Air India, we haven't heard anything as of now from Air India. What we are understanding is that the entire process which is being followed is as per the protocol which are being laid by both the DGCA and also by the ATC, and these protocols will be followed before the landing, the final landing and the final touchdown is done. And in fact, as per Purnima also, and in fact what we are hearing from the ground is that now the fuel, the exhausting level of the fuels which the pilots were trying to achieve is nearly, they are nearly about to meet, and in fact in the next 10 to 12 minutes we could actually expect that very landing could take place. But like you mentioned, there is a very hard possibility that it will be a rough landing. So that is why all those precautionary measures have also been put in place, including the fire brigades and in fact also the ambulances. But if you go by the experts in this very case, the pilots, the commercial pilots, are well trained to actually execute these sorts of landings. But we have to keep our fingers crossed, because this is a real situation we are talking about, not a simulator situation. But the kind of experience these pilots have, we are hoping that this will be a smooth one. And in fact, in the next 10 to 15 minutes, we will get to know exactly how this landing takes place.
Yash, if you can walk us through, apparently the DGCA, which is the regulatory authority for all safety of aircraft, some days back had issued an advisory to all airlines on a potential rudder system issue in the Boeing 737, and I believe this is a Boeing 737 aircraft as well. This advisory was issued on the 7th of October. It was prompted by concerns raised by the US National Transportation Safety Board, the NTSB, regarding a faulty component that could potentially jam the rudder control system. Do we know if that is what has led to the landing gear in this instance not folding back and the faulty landing gear? What exactly is this warning, or at least advisory, that was issued by Boeing and by DGCA on October 7th?
Zaka, the exact reason of this very technical glitch will be only ascertained once the landing is done, and then the entire scrutiny is done exactly why this very piece of aircraft actually faced this sort of technical glitch. But like you mentioned, that yes, DGCA has talked about how there were certain issues regarding this very aircraft model, which is the Boeing 737. In fact, like you mentioned, the issue regarding the jammed rudder control system was the main reason behind this very thing. And in fact, potentially it could be this very reason, but that is a matter of investigation, exactly why this technical glitch happened. And in fact, like you mentioned, the US National Transportation Safety Board had actually also flagged off this very concern on the highest level when it comes to the international aviation societies. And in fact, following that, a lot of countries had actually issued advisories for that. In fact, have actually flagged for a complete servicing of these planes, and in fact, a proper checks and balances regarding this very Boeing 737 plane. In fact, in India currently, Air India Express, Akasa Airlines, and also SpiceJets operate these sorts of planes. And in fact, but once this landing happens, and in fact, once the regulators and in fact the authorities get into the bottom of this, then only we will get to know the exact reason as to why this very Boeing 737 faced this very glitch.
Okay, Yash, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much. Yash Goel joining us with the very latest details. So the aircraft is circling around the Trichy airspace. It's trying to reduce the fuel load so that whenever the belly landing happens, and that's the only way it can land because the landing gear is now faulty, it is stuck. Therefore, whenever the belly landing happens, the lesser the fuel load, the better it is because it sort of cushions down the landing. But if the fuel load is high, then it becomes a problem for the aircraft. We'll try and touch base with Yash Goel as well as Purnima Murli as and when this flight makes landing in Trichy. For now, let's move on to the other big story that we're tracking. The Congress government in Karnataka has decided to withdraw a number of rioting cases against members of the AIMIM who indulged in rioting a few years ago. Now the BJP, one particular case of course is related to what happened in Hubballi. The BJP in the state has accused the state government of yet another instance of appeasement. The chief minister has said this is very much in the prerogative of the state government. The question is whether this is a case of appeasement or is it a case of a genuine grievance where the state government, well within its powers, has decided to withdraw these cases. But first, the story of what exactly happened in the withdrawal of these cases, rioting cases that happened in Hubballi in 2022.